பரவாயில்ல. அதுல போய் என்ன இருக்கு? பசங்க மட்டும் இல்ல. பசங்களும் அப்படிதான் இருப்பானுங்க.
அவங்களும் நம்ம பார்க்க முடியாதுல்ல.
இல்ல லைவ் போட்டுங்களா?
Pravi is going on, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Streaming now.
Streaming. Okay. Okay. Hi, friends. I welcome you all to this session on community medicine. We will wait for another few more minutes and we are ready to start. Okay, so let me start the session. Today, we have a very enthusiastic and uh, very enthusiastic professor, Dr. R Balaji. He is the Associate Professor of Community Medicine from SRM Medical College and Research Institute from Chennai. He will be delivering a talk on National Vector-Borne Diseases Control Program, a very important topic. And regarding R Balaji, he has almost 8 years of experience and a mind-blowing more than 60 papers of publication. He is very much into research, very much into education. He has been trained by the Harvard's Partners Medical Institute on various methodologies of medical education. So here I hand over to Dr. R Balaji. Sir, you can start the talk.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for introducing me. And it was overwhelming also. So it's nice to join this platform to meet the enthusiastic students who are very interested in trying to learn. So I've got enough introduction from the other Balajis who was coordinating this. So I'll take over the session. I will share the screen. Can I?
Yes, sir. Yes. And if if you have any doubts, please type them in the chat section of the YouTube channel. At the end, R Balaji will clarify them at the end of this session. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So I'll be sharing the screen. So once you stop your sharing, only I can share. Bala sir, you should stop sharing your screen for me to share. I cannot start.
Ilongo?
Yeah. Okay. So good evening for everyone, for all the interested students. So we are going with the topic of National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program. When it comes to national program at an undergraduate level, we know like how much dry it is. So it has only 40 pages. Most of the essay questions, a part of it will be at least on national programs. So without programs, we can't escape. But as an undergraduate, we always have a tough time, including me. But this particular topic, programs, is so interesting once you start working on it. So the main problem with undergraduate is that we won't get into the field to work with the program. We won't get chance basically to work with the program. But as postgraduate others, we get more chance and we can understand this program much well. So today, my slides will be taking you through this field aspects and how the program actually goes on in a way where an undergraduate can understand. And with that, we'll be going. We know that there are plenty of national health programs, but one of the best program which is in existence is National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program. The name itself says it's a program which is established for controlling some vector-borne diseases. So we'll see what are those vector-borne diseases. But initially, before even entering this program, I want you people to see the logo. So we can find out a mosquito being prevented from entering towards the family. The family is totally protected from the mosquito. That way, we are controlling the disease that can be transmitted by mosquito. But of course, there are also some odd diseases in this particular program, which is not transmitted by mosquito. I think few of you will be knowing by now. Okay, so with this, we'll get into this program. And even before I start, whenever you come to program, there are two types of programs are there. One is called a horizontal program, the other one is called vertical program. Whenever we speak about vertical program, it means that there are a set of people right from the top to the bottom who will work only for the program, for that program alone. Whereas a horizontal program is one where a set of people will work for a group of things. Okay, so many things can be brought under one umbrella and we can execute things. That's called a horizontal program. I will tell you why I mentioned this in a while. And this particular NVBDCP is an horizontal program because it comprises like almost 6 diseases being controlled under one program. Okay, so even before going into the program, we have to know some basic thing why these programs came into existence. What are the factors which are actually causing these kind of existence of program, why we need it. So some factors which actually increase the chance of these vector-borne diseases are you know that urban population is increasing. People are migrating from rural to urban for work and whatever it is. So as that, we are having a lot of outbreaks in the urban population. We can find out that we have water supply shortage in many places in urban rural area. So people tend to go for filling it into certain tanks or what do you call tubs. They have their own traditional way of storage, and if the shortage is going to be long, this storage of water is going to be even more, which indirectly facilitates the breeding for these mosquitoes. So and that way these all play a very important role. We also have a changing lifestyle where nowadays we depend more on air coolers and on other things, air conditioners, where there are places where this water is stored and again a potential area where the mosquito can breed. And the best of all, okay, or you can say the worst from the outbreak side, it is the rapid transportation which we are having. So from one area, within a matter of 4 to 5 hours, we can transport any disease. You can see the corona outbreak, pandemic, how it's happening. Because of the rapid transportation, you can go to any continent anytime. So same holds good for malaria also. I mean, all the vector-borne diseases. Okay, fine. So even before, before entering this one, is this NVBDCP? Why we are having it as an horizontal program? Fine. Looking very interesting point about this malaria is the current thing which we mentioned for malaria is as long as human exist, mosquito and malaria will also exist. We can't reduce it. So it's a proven thing. But in 1940s or 1950s, there was a decade or so where we even had a program called National Malaria Eradication Program. The entire world was planning to eradicate this particular disease in such a way that they almost reduce the burden of malaria to that small level. One mistake what we did was we relaxed towards the end, and there was a cycle which was going in the forest area called Sylvian cycle. With that mosquitoes where the parasites were staying, they came back into our urban and rural areas, and now we are in a place where we can't eliminate malaria totally. So then they slowly changed the names of the program from malaria eradication to control, this, that, National Anti-Malaria Program towards the end. From National Anti-Malaria Program, they thought that we can't have certain people who work only for malaria. So till National Anti-Malaria Program, it was a vertical program. There'll be a ministry people, there'll be like program officers only for malaria. Till the end person, we will have a person who work only for malaria, like a health assistant. But then they said single purpose won't solve, so we should have multi-purpose worker. And then they said that funding only for malaria may not work good because dengue, Japanese encephalitis, other diseases were not getting any sort of funds. So they said we need to club only, then all the disease can be tackled together. That's why uh, we got every disease under a single umbrella, and what do you call it? It's a horizontal program. Okay, so NVBDCP. So few points regarding the program side, if possible, remember. So it was under MDG 6. Now we are in the SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. So there also we had specification and against malaria and other diseases. National Health Policy also spoke a lot about vector-borne disease. And in 2004, it was when this horizontal program started. And under this umbrella, we have a most comprehensive and multifaceted public health activities in trying to reduce 6 different diseases. So this one you should be knowing for your Viva and also for your exam purpose. Major one malaria, along with that others were added, that is filariasis, JE, Japanese encephalitis, Kala-Azar, leishmaniasis, dengue, and chikungunya. I know looking at these diseases, which one is the odd man? So you'll be able to answer that. Is none other than our Kala-Azar. Though it's less in our area, still we need to know because it has its own national importance. Okay. Going further, any program, when you get an exam, it's good that you know the organizational structure as how this program functions. Okay, so usually we have under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, there'll be a directorate for this program. Okay, at the center level, Director General is there for NVBDCP. Then we have at the state level, state project management units are available, and joint JDs will be working for NVBDC. Previously, malaria had a separate JD, whereas now it is for entire vector-borne disease. And coming at the district level, we have this previously district malaria officer. Now they are called district malaria and filaria officer, but recently it has also been changed to NVBDCP officer. So it's all being, as I said, clubbed into an horizontal program. So this limited organizational structure, if you know, you'll have some idea. You're not right in detail. Okay. So what basically this NVBDCP works? What is the approach towards controlling it? So if you concentrate more on malaria, how we are going to approach, the all other 5 diseases has similar approach with a minor difference based on the bionomics of the vector. Bionomics is nothing but how different vectors react to their own environment. For example, you all know that Aedes mosquito is a day biter. It won't go and bite in the night. Whereas other mosquito bite in the night. It is a bionomics of Aedes mosquito. So each and every vector has its own bionomics. So we'll proceed with that. Fine. So the first one is EDPT. Okay, that's nothing but early diagnosis and prompt treatment. Okay, prompt treatment means it should be like good enough. Completely you should treat them, not a presumptive treatment which was there when we were undergraduate students. So first one is EDPT. Second one is integrated vector control. Integrated vector control is itself a separate short notes. Very important how we can control these vectors, IVC. And the last one is supportive activities where the other things will come in. So we'll find out how we are going. Okay. So what are the strategies for this NVBDCP? How we are going to control disease management? So clinically, the disease has to be managed for these patients. Quality assurance, yes, any program functions good, only the quality of that program is maintained. Efficiency, yes, a program efficiency should be simultaneously checked. Make sure, because this is a vector, if insecticide has any resistance, there are a lot of insecticide which have already got resistance to mosquitoes. Okay. Then environmental management, very important for IVC also. Integrated vector control, environmental management is important. When you attack the breeding spot, you can reduce the disease to a major level. I'm sorry. Legislation, yes, a strong backing law should be there. Like I'll be telling you later also. For dengue and all, we had municipalities law, corporations law, which said that your ACs and air conditioners, refrigerators, coolers should not store water. If it's stored, fine will be put. So unless law comes out, people will not be um, willing to cooperate. Institutional collaboration, yes, multiple institutions should come into play to act. Intersectoral convergence, everyone should go. And BCC stands for behavioral change communication. Unless you change the behavior of your community, it's very difficult to achieve this control. So a lot of things go in place. So at your level, undergraduate level, you concentrate looking at the disease management, efficiency of the services, resistance, environmental management, and monitoring, evaluation, and BCC. So everything, if you look, it may be confusing, but this is just a broad idea about the vector, about the program. So, okay, going per se for malaria alone, whichever disease, when you're going to start writing in your essay or short notes, make sure you know at least one or two values, especially for the uh, broad disease. We can't remember so many numbers for the disease which are, for example, I used to tell my students, like whenever any particular topic has more than 10 pages, it means an important question, and you know at least one or two numbers for that thing. For smaller questions or disease which been depicted in our books, don't remember the numbers, because towards then we may not remember anything. So here also I'm not going to concentrate on the numbers, so don't worry about it. Okay, but what you have to remember is concept. So over the last few decades, we find that the falciparum malaria has increased. So when you look at the proportion, we have more of falciparum coming, and we also know falciparum is one species of this mosquito. Sorry, yeah, one species of this plasmodium, which is going to cause a severe malaria, and we are also having a lot of resistance to that, and our drugs are not working for this disease. So now we need to be even more careful. So malaria still remains to be one of the most important public health problem. As I said, whatever effort, this is going to continue. Okay, here are a few statistics, maybe a little ahead rather than the recent one, but what I'm trying to say, it's a constant problem and it increases. We have almost an even proportion of falciparum cases also along with the other malaria cases. So we need to be very careful. And indicators are very much proving that it's constantly increasing or keep on going. It's always endemic in many places, and outbreaks are also occurring in certain places. Looking at the death, yes, we can find out certain states it is causing a major problem, especially Orissa, Maharashtra, and all. And in fact, in the current surveys, whatever we do, we look at this endemicity of malaria, and based on that, we decide how the survey should happen. Yes, looking at India, you can find out all the red color ones are the one which is having major problems. So even now, whenever we do this National Family Health Survey, NFHS, which you would have heard by now, so we will concentrate more on these particular areas when we collect samples for malaria endemicity. Whereas others, the sampling will be relatively lesser. And one number which you should remember this indicator of API. API stands for annual parasite incidences 2. Whenever you have a number more than 2 for API, it means it is more endemic. Less than 2 is less endemic. So the first number for the day you should remember is API with a cutoff of 2. Got it? Fine. So the next would be, okay, individual state. Yes, we are going to have for each and every state. We're not worried about it right now. There are every program, I mean, every report which commented about malaria. And as I already mentioned, in 50s, it was control. Then they went to eradication. There were multiple program names which had come. If possible, you can remember. But finally, we at 2004 till now, we are in the name of NVBDCP. So looking at the strategies in detail, okay, mainly consider rural areas initially. As I said, we start with EDPT in the three-pronged approach. So right now, the treatment given is radical treatment. Maybe you'd attended malaria class, you don't know. Previously, as I said, when we were undergraduates, it was called presumptive treatment. Anyone having fever, we start with chloroquine, making sure that you should get rid if he has malaria. But most of them may not have malaria, but still chloroquine would have been in their body. The mistake was realized later that presumptive treatment is indirectly going to increase the resistance for this particular drug. Now, there are certain areas where we can't use chloroquine at all. For example, northeast of India, we can't use chloroquine at all. And as per species of falciparum, where again chloroquine is not at all work, it's proven that it's totally resistant. That's why whenever we look at Plasmodium falciparum, in the slide, we always go for artemisinin combination therapy. Okay, no more question of chloroquine. So now they said it is only radical treatment, and only after confirming this malaria and the species, we are going to start this radical treatment. Okay, and yeah, where we are going to, we have a lot of distribution center, treatment reports, any clinics, all these places we have thing, and we have a national drug policy, and a lot of things have come from this particular thing. Okay, and just wait for a minute. Yeah, sorry for that. There was some disturbance in the voice. I just okay, we are back. So we also have a lot of new identification things called rapid diagnostic kit, which I'll be telling in the flow chart in the next thing. So the one thing which you should remember from this slide is there's no more presumptive treatment. It is only radical therapy. So looking at this slide, okay, what happens? Okay, there are every chance that if we are in the main area, we can take slides. If we are in the remote area, slide cannot be taken immediately, so we need to be careful. Imagine here we are in a place where the microscopy result is available within 24 hours. So when there is a case of suspected malaria, we are going to take a slide with the blood. As I already said, we are not going to give treatment immediately. Okay. So if slide can be taken and report is available, we'll wait for the report. If it's negative, no malaria treatment is required. If it's Plasmodium vivax PV, we are going to give 3 days of chloroquine and 14 days of primaquine. So you should be knowing by now. For vivax, it's 14 days of primaquine, whereas for PF, falciparum, it will be 1 day of primaquine along with ACT. As I already mentioned, when it's known to be falciparum, it will be 3 days of artemisinin combination therapy. So we'll be studying in medicine, pediatrics, all those things. I'm not going to go into depth. Okay, this is just program aspect. Fine. If it's not available within 24 hours, then we can't depend on this slide. So what we will do, what are the options we have? Okay, so when still we are suspecting someone, and we'll say that if AFI is more than 2%, that means that's an endemic area, and the Plasmodium falciparum percentage of that area is more than 30%, means we are in a very dangerous area. We should be even more careful. Immediately, we will use a kit called rapid diagnostic kit. You would have studied in your second year that there is a rapid diagnostic kit, especially for Plasmodium falciparum, based on the HRP2 antigen, histidine-rich protein 2 antigen. And just like how pregnancy tests, they will be just dropping a blood and they'll find out if it's going to be positive or not. Yes, if a second line comes and says that the RDT, the rapid diagnostic kit, is positive, that means it's a falciparum case. And if I know it's a falciparum, I'll directly go for ACT and treatment. If RDT is negative, why then I will wait for the slide report to come. I don't mind waiting some more days for the report to come. Okay, because I'm sure that ACT is not required here. Maybe 1 or 2 days or 3 days, then I'm going to start the adequate treatment accordingly. Okay, simultaneously, if there is not much endemic area, I won't waste my RDT. I'll just take a slide. Okay, previously they were giving chloroquine. Now even this is stopped. I'll wait for the slide report and then start on chloroquine or acid artemisinin combination therapy based on the species. Okay, so this is a picture of that thing. As I said, we have seen pregnancy. A lot of RDK kits have come nowadays, and how the report goes on. So when a second line comes, it's a positive one, and if it's there, it's negative. It's just at the field level itself, when a health worker find out what type of species it can be. Fine. So in the next point after EDPT is vector control. So this is part of IVC. So vector control, there are different methods. We'll start with chemical method. I can use an indoor residual spray. So we are speaking about rural areas. In rural area, I can go into the houses. I can have a spray up to certain height to make sure certain mosquito which sits on the wall dies there itself. We can't try this in urban area. It's more preferred in rural area. IRS, indoor residual spray. At the breeding places, we can also use chemical larvicides like abate, temophos. Okay, then space sprays can be used when an outbreak is there. Space spray, there are different drugs used for different kinds of sprays. Okay, so what is this IRS? You can see the background picture where they are spraying it on the walls. There's a definite criteria how you have to spray, how much height, how the bandwidth should be there, whether it should be overlapping or not, because every part should be covered. But it is very good for rural area. It has long-term effect. It has a residual effect. It won't go off that easily. So the mosquito can be prevented from staying inside the house. Indirectly, it's going to stop the disease transmission. Looking at the details of insecticide used, yes, you would have heard of these terms: DDT, malathion, delta methrin. Again, one of the difficult table to follow. If you can remember. Otherwise, not much question will be asked. But the names are very important. Very few last. When you look at the lower things, they are all like advanced synthetic insecticides, pyrethroids, and these can be used in the space sprays also. The xylothrine, spermethrin, other thing. DDT, malathion are all used in IRS and other things. Okay. Next is, yeah, what is the criteria? They have certain criteria. If possible, you can remember, otherwise fine. So when it's highly endemic and when the performance, ABI, I'll be telling that also. ABI is nothing but annual blood examination rate. So on an annual, I'm going to examine so many slides. So if it's more than 10, the second number you're going to remember for the day is 10. If ABR is greater than 10, it means the program is functioning effectively. If it is less than 10, then there's a problem with the functioning of the program. And if it is less than 10, there's no point in looking at API. Only when the program functions good enough, I need to look at API if it's 2 or more than 2 or less. So that's the criteria. If API is greater than 10, then I will look if its API is very high. If it's less than 10, I'll go for something else. So there are a lot of things. If it's PF, falciparum more than 50%, then I need to go for IRS. So they have certain criteria where IRS can be used within the house in the rural area. Okay. As of now, we are just going to remember API 2 and ABER 10%. These are some sprays which can be used for all those things. Fine. So we finished chemical method. We are entering this biological method. Everyone are fond of these terms. Gambusian, guppy fishes they can be put into the breeding spots, and literally it just goes and eats those eggs and kills all larva. It can eat the larva and kills it. So the major problem is solved at the source itself. It's a source reduction method. And there are also some biocides which has come. Bacillus thuringiensis, which will be useful for your NEET exam, these words and all. Even these things can be allowed and they interact with the larva and indirectly killing those larva. So certain biological methods which are found. Okay. And the last one is how we are going to protect ourselves. That's the personal prophylactic measure. Yeah, of course, you'll be knowing a lot of personal PPE, personal prophylactic measures for mosquito. These are something which we use regularly at our home, right? Yeah, we apply mosquito repellents on our screens. You're very fond of odomas, right? Liquids, yes, again, we can see in many of our houses, good night and other kind of odors, liquids and all. Coil is quite common. These are all having other problems recently, but it's very well working against mosquito, but you can also argue saying that nowadays mosquito runs even over that. So mosquitoes are getting resistance even for these mosquito repellents. Screening the houses, one of the definite thing, it is a barrier where it's not going to allow, where it's going to avoid these mosquitoes from entering in. So there should be in a correct size, and this will prevent these mosquitoes from entering. So via measures, many houses we are having, we can place it down, paste it, or we can even put it in metal. So many things are happening. Best part, wear proper clothes, cover maximum surface area of the body so that we are not allowing the mosquitoes to sit on our body and bite. So this is how we can do. Even there are like situations where school students were asked to wear full hand shirts so that in the morning when Aedes mosquito bites, they're already covered. So the chance of dengue transmission is reduced. So, but even for malaria, yes, as long as we are covered, we are protecting ourselves from this mosquito. And ITNs. ITN itself is another important short notes for you from the university exam. There are a lot of types of ITN. They are very good. ITN stands for not only just bed net, which we have sometime in a house, it is insecticide treated bed net, ITN. So they are having insecticide impregnated in their cloth material or whatever material they have, and when a mosquito tries to sit on that, it's going to die. So that's a very good idea. Many rural areas we are following this ITNs, and it's working really efficient. Okay, a picture wrongly placed, I think. Okay, Gambusian guppy fish has been should be shown before. Okay, coming to this ITN, yes, it is directly going to reduce the contact. Yes, mosquito is going to be outside. It will reduce morbidity and mortality. Of course, important point is community participation. Unless a community is participating in this particular activity, we can't succeed with ITN. They need to make sure they're using it properly. They need to make sure once in 6 months, if they are advised to come back to treat it with insecticide, they should get it. They should not keep it for something else. There are many houses where they use this bed net for something else. They won't cover it. So we have a lot of problem in the field with community participation in ITN. Social marketing, a lot of marketing has to be done. They have to be educated, their behavior has to be changed. Only then we can succeed with ITN. Nylon nets are preferred. Okay, there are some numbers, if possible you can remember, it's there in a text also, what should be the size of these measures, because if bigger than this the mosquito can enter. And the usually preferred insecticide is delta methrin for these particular ITNs. Advantage, immediate knockdown or killing action. The moment the mosquito says, there every chance they will die, they will have repellent effect, they'll run off, and indirectly they're going to protect us. Cost effective, long lasting, one of the best method. There are some pictures you can find out, you can see some people working on it. I mean, they're immersing it. Usually what they do, once in 6 months they are immersed in the delta methrin or other things, insecticide which we use, so that the impregnation is maintained. Nowadays we have a new concept called LLIN, long lasting insecticide treated nets. That also is a short note. LLIN means now even at the manufacturing level, the company itself, these insecticides are impregnated into the nets so that they can last for 2 to 5 years also. It's called LLIN, long lasting insecticide nets. The third point is environmental management and source reduction. One of the costliest way how we can reduce this problem, vector borne problem, is attacking at the environmental place. That means their breeding spot. So you fill their breeding spot with water. Don't, I mean, make sure the water where it's open, or yeah, you can close the particular area. You can put mud. It's called bridging. A lot of terms have been used. We also have channelization. Sometimes we make sure water runs off from that place. Channelization, we can cover it so that no mosquito lays eggs into that. So basically, environmental management itself is an important topic, more of an engineering method. Community participation, as already mentioned, for insecticide, it's also required for other things where before the houses, if there are some storing areas, all those things you can. So by now you have known malaria is transmitted by Anopheles mosquito, which usually breeds in clean stored water. Okay, stored water in the sense outside in the roads, other things. The water should be a clean one. Okay, it's not artificial collection; it is natural collection, but it won't. It's not like sewage water. Culex is one thing which usually breeds in the dirty water, sewage water, all those things. So depends on that, we can make sure our breeding places are eliminated. Community participation is mandatory. Here you can see wherein they are filling up those areas, and wherever unnecessary waters have been clogged, we can reduce. The one more thing is monitoring evaluation. From a program side, it's always important. So if you want to go score more marks for this particular topic, you need to write about monitoring and evaluation. So we have management information system having data about every diseased person, how they function, to whom they have to report, so many things. So at your level, just mention there are institutes which work for it and management information system which work for monitoring and evaluation. More than enough. Okay, so this is one more, that management information system which you can remember. It's called NAMIS. Okay, National Anti-Malarial Management Information System. Like how for TB we have certain online portal, we have for malaria also. Urban areas will be almost similar with mild difference. So in rural area, we go into the house, do insecticide spray, which can't be done in urban area. It's called urban malaria scheme, wherein we prefer more of space sprays. Most of you, if you are in urban area, you'll know that the mosquito control vehicles, they come and keep spreading the smog. We all run into the house. We even close the windows, making sure that particular smoke should not get into the house. But actual thing is, it has to come into the house and work, send off the insect outside. But our people, because of their poor behavior, we close it off. We also have done when we are young. So we will close it off and make sure this particular insecticide doesn't enter. So we need to change. That's called behavior change communication. Okay, it's all same thing. Control malaria, reduces mortality, morbidity. It's mainly done in when the API is greater than 2, and yeah, we have a lot of cases reported even in the urban areas. I'm just reducing. I mean, I'm skipping this pictures part. Strategy, as I said, from now on the strategies will be almost similar for all the disease. We're just going to rush through. EDPT, yes, we have to treat the patient. Anti-larval measure, yes, same larva, we are going to treat it. We are going to give all these engineering methods, biological control, IEC. So everything is common. But one thing which is important is aerosol space spray. So I'm not going for IRS. I'm going for aerosol space spray. So 2% pyrethrum extract in and around the houses where malaria is positive is going to help us. Okay. Otherwise, things are almost similar. So whatever question being asked, you can have these 5 to 6 points, and it's going to be good enough for you to write with specific points. Surveillance, already I mentioned, there are some NAMIS, other programs where surveillance is happening. From my side, I want you to know what is active surveillance and what is passive surveillance alone. Active surveillance is something where patient, no, I'm sorry. Usually what happens when patient comes to a clinic, we detect them and we are going to treat them. That is called passive. We are not actively involved. Patient comes to us and we treat. Whereas active surveillance is very important for malaria control, where the health assistant, health workers, they go to every houses once in 2 weeks to ask if fever is there. If they say yes, fever is there, or one of the person who visited had fever, they will do a blood test like this to find out, take a slide to find out malaria. This is called active surveillance. Fine. Indicators, another important short notes. ABER, annual blood examination rate. The cutoff I already mentioned is 10%. Monthly blood examination rate, yes, important. API is another important thing. The cutoff here is 2. Less than 2 is non-endemic. More than 2 is endemic. More than 5 is highly endemic area. We also have other indicator which you'll be using even for your problem solving exercises in your practicals. So please read those. Okay, with a very long discussion about malaria, we are going to see some salient points about the remaining 5 diseases, okay, which will be more of rushing. Okay, filariasis, you all know. Yes, not more of death comes, but it's a very disfiguring and debilitating disease because it's going to change your life. We can see so many people coming with such huge elephantiasis legs. Poor people, they have to stay at home. Many people are not, may lost their jobs. So many things have happened. So we need to take care of this particular disease also. Here also huge numbers of cases are there. In fact, many areas are found to be endemic to filaria, and only those places certain things should be concentrated. You can find out these red color areas, including the place where our college, SRM college also is there. It's all called filariasis endemic area. Even in fact, you have learned something called MDA, Mass Drug Administration. They make sure once a year, these places, every person is approached and given the drug, and they should take that particular antifilarial drug and make sure they're not having this problem in the future. With that, we were able to control so many cases. Okay, so we'll see what else is there in this program. Initially, it was a separate program called National Filaria Control Program. Then it came under malaria scheme. First disease to join malaria was filaria, but all other four got merged during 2004. Yes, objective will be reduction of the burden and control using various measures. So what are the strategy? As I said, the drug which is given as DEC, diethyl carbamazepine. There every chance, every student say this particular drug as carbamazepine. Please don't do that. Okay. Just remember diethyl carbamazepine, DEC. And just one time in a year, if you take, you are going to prevent you from getting. So even when I was an undergraduate student, which was a filaria endemic area, we were given every year to take that so that we don't suffer in future. The recommended dose, just look, each tablet is 100 milligram. Okay, so less than 2 years, it's contraindicated. 2 to 5, one tablet, that means 100. 6 to 14 years, two tablets, which is 200 milligram. And above 15 years, okay, most of you, me, all are, if you have to take, you have to take 3 tablets, which is 300 milligram. Along with that, we make sure the worm, so basically DEC destroys the microfilaria, but some worms also is going to be there, and also it's going to stop the other worms also. So albendazole also is given in this program to make sure other problems are solved. Individually, when someone has the disease case management, then we are going to go for 12 days treatment of 72 milligram, or sorry, 6 milligram per kilogram for 12 days. So 72 milligram per kilogram total. So this number also you should remember, 6 milligram per kilogram for 12 days. So this is somehow which we manage individual case and also annual mass drug administration. Again, MDA is a very important short notes, repeatedly asked question. Vector control, it's again a Culex mosquito. It's in dirty water. We can use environmental engineering, biological control, kill them. We can use IRS within the houses, then anti-larval measures. The best drug always mentioned in anti-larval measure is Themophos. So forget about this numbers now. Just remember the names. MLO being used previously, wherever these dirty waters are there, if we can't clean it totally, what they do, they just pour off this mineral larvicidal oil. It will block the superficial area. You know what happens when oil is put on water, it's going to float on the water surface. So what happens, this larva, which takes the air for survival, respiration through the siphon tube, will not have a connection with the air outside. So obviously it's going to die without oxygen. So very simple protective barrier kind of thing by which we can control the vector. All others are similar. I'm not going to repeat. You yourself are going to write capacity building, BCC, environmental engineering, biological control. Okay, this is how we are going to work. Something more, if you want, I can tell you. Filaria control in endemic areas has something called filaria control units, FCUs. FCUs are places where people whoever has this elephantiasis leg, they go to those places and they take treatment even for the filarial leg. Okay, something like heat therapy, interferential therapy. So if you are from an endemic area, you can visit those places and learn how those are taken care. Otherwise, you need to just follow it. Okay, indices again important for practical purpose, even for theory. Yes, we have microfilaria rate, filaria endemicity rate, and microfilaria density. One is just saying that how much microfilaria, how many people, how many slides had microfilaria. Then other one says in an area how many people had filaria leg. Okay, the disease part. This is the vector. The microfilaria organism part. And one more parameter says where it counts both the microfilaria in the blood and also the people who had filaria leg. So this is how it works here. So just 3 indices in filaria. If you can remember the entomological indices, but as of now for undergraduates not required. So I think filaria is short, neat. You can just because we will discuss a lot about malaria. I think you can very well write about filaria also. Dengue, another major problem we have in many areas. A lot of outbreaks happen in dengue. One main reason is the mosquito, dengue mosquito Aedes, cannot fly longer. It can fly only up to 100 to 400 meters. So the every chance it bites people nearby, and thereby also outbreak can occur. Unlike Culex and Anopheles, which can travel up to 4 to 11 kilometers also. So maybe that's why outbreaks are less in that and more in dengue. We can find out of late dengue cases are increasing like anything. Even I will say more than malaria and okay, Filaria. Filaria is only an endemic area. More than malaria and other types of fever, we are seeing a lot of dengue cases, especially in children, adults. Even 2 years before I was down with dengue fever, it's so much common. Okay, and one problem with this dengue fever is in the daytime where you are, it's not in your house. So daytime when you're working outside or you're studying in your college, you should be very careful. We are not exposed to this disease. So every time we see some mosquito biting us, we look whether the mosquito has some spots on it. If it is having spots, we should be even more careful. It could be a tiger mosquito or Aedes mosquito, and chance of dengue can come. Okay, just giving some idea about the vector also. So there are many people. Yes, 2.5% of the people are dying. Okay, a lot of numbers are here. We're not going to speak about it. Fine. Looking at, see, whenever you write a program or a disease, just know about the maximum, what do you call it, in the epidemiology, which areas are majorly affected. So you can say about endemic areas for malaria, filaria. And likewise, we have for dengue also. A lot of South Indian states are affected, few in the North India also. Many districts in these states are also endemic for dengue, or a lot of outbreaks can occur. So something you need to describe in epidemiology. And yeah, regularly we are seeing a lot of increase in these cases of dengue and also the death of dengue. There are a lot of serotypes. For serotypes are there, they can change and come again also. So in dengue class, you'll be knowing all those things. Let me stick on only to the program aspect. Yeah, in the program, we are finding out a lot of cases being increased. Looking at the strategy, again, almost similar. We should have a proper surveillance system to find out how many dengue cases are coming. Yes, we have a program called IDSP, which takes care of surveillance. Integrator Disease Surveillance Project, IDSP. Again, EDPT has come here. Yes, we need to early diagnose this patient and treat them. Just symptomatic treatment is more than enough. Okay, we don't have specific drugs for dengue directly, but if you miss out in the early stage, you'll be in problem. Vector control, yes, know about this vector. This is a different one. Okay, it doesn't breed in the dirty water or clean water outside. It's going to breed in the artificial collection of water. So we need to approach dengue mosquito in a different way. Okay, what are those artificial collection? We're going to see like tires, coconut shells, all those things. Apart from the regular dialogues, what you're going to give here is capacity building, intersectoral convergence. You can write always 1 or 2 points for all the program. If you don't know any point, you mention these two words, intersectoral convergence and capacity building. Fine. Yeah, they also have some indices for this vector, something called Brito index, pupa index, container index, where how many containers in a house has this larva, then household, and how many households have this larva. A lot of things are there. All theory part you can learn. It's been used. So Brito index for MCQ, remember, it comes in dengue surveillance. Okay, there are a lot of indices with different names which you should know. Management, environmental modification is the first for dengue, because this is one of the easiest way to manage. As I said, it is only artificial collection of water, which is a breeding spot. If you remove this artificial collection, which can be done even at an individual level, household level, and you don't require government to take care of it. If you have some tires next to your house where waterlogging, just go and puncture the tire. If you have coconut shells, make sure water does not log, because any water which is going to be there for more than 10 days, it's going to be a potential area for breeding of mosquito in it. If you have a white tanks in your house, make sure water is being emptied at least once a week and it is being cleaned. Another part of dengue is this Aedes egg is so much resistant that if it goes and stick into the wall of the tank, even if you empty the water, it will survive. The next time you fill in water, it will come back and start breeding. So what we people advise us, we tell them to literally scratch. What do you call that word? Yeah. So we'll ask them to scrape the wall so that that particular Aedes mosquito eggs break off. Okay, it will break off. Otherwise, it will just survive again. So there are a lot of environmental management required for this particular thing. People have to remove from the refrigerators, air coolers, wherever water is stored. We need to remove asbestos. It would have a dent, and the water will be collected. You need to make sure it is removed off. Otherwise, you are going to have dengue in your house. Okay. So as I said, it's a lot important. Personal protection. Yeah, at the daytime, make sure you're protecting yourself. As I already mentioned, some health ministers are advised in a school to give all of the school children full hand shirts. Everyone wondering what is this, and then they said the cases have come down. It's because it's a day biter and the mosquito is going to bite in the school and not at the house. So they reduced the incidence of dengue in children because of that. Chemical control, thermophos comes again. We have pyrethrum space, malathion. So these are general things we can write. Legislative measures plays a lot of role in dengue because it's you people you can manage. Model civic bylaws, building construction. So many act always mention you can't allow storage of water in your building. In Bombay, if you have water in the air coolers, other thing, they'll put fine, they'll remove it off. So many things are there. So legislative measures play an important role, and health education, behavior change communication is very important for dengue. I literally explained where it could be and how we are going to remove it. You can see pictures how it has to be stored. Okay, if you keep tires one over the other, we won't have the water clogging. If you can't allow water stagnating next to the source of water itself, have a drain. Pots cannot be open, again potential source, keep it closed, remove of the water regularly. Likewise, we can change. So coming to the fourth fever, which is chikungunya, almost looks like dengue in the symptoms and all. Again, the transmitting mosquito is also dengue mosquito. It is Aedes mosquito, right? So it started in Africa South, majorly the name came from there, but now we have a lot of problem in Southeast Asia also. So epidemiology says more in Africa and Southeast Asia, especially India. Okay, we had a lot of outbreaks. There was in 2006 where every alternate guys were saying I have severe joint swelling and pain. It's there for 2 to 3 months, and it was found to be chikungunya fever. Fine. Yeah, the epidemic, like different states reporting these cases. So chikungunya is not more a normal disease. We can definitely get a lot of cases. So what people, how we are managing it? Just in short, we have a surveillance program. It's called CHIK surveillance. We are also having a lot of vaccines which are in trials now, CHIKVs. Uh, so many hospital-based sentinel surveillance are there, monitoring it, trying to find out cases. So because outbreaks are not that common like dengue, but still like 2006, anytime we can report chikungunya outbreaks. So that's why there's regular surveillance component. Next, control. Yes, it's a day biter. Personal protection measures important. As I said, source reduction is almost similar to dengue. You need to apply from now on and start writing biological, chemical, personal protection, source reduction, environmental measure, everything you can fill it. Yes, details control strategy. Already we have a chickpea surveillance, EDPT. Yes, treat them. Behavior change communication for artificial collection of water. Fogging, yes, whenever it's in the city, space spraying, fogging are important for these people. Again, fishers, capacity building for the people who are capacity building is nothing but people who are working on it should have enough knowledge and capability of working for it. That's called capacity building. Then people are strongly trying to develop a vaccine. We India also we are going to develop it. The fifth one is JE, the last disease transmitted by the mosquito in this particular program. Just going to tell the strategy. We have a JE vaccine. In 2006, it was part of the program also. JE, though it's like more of a sporadic case, very rarely we have outbreaks from JE. But what you should know is from JE point of view, it is transmitted by a special type of Culex mosquito called Culex tritania. Unlike other Culex mosquito which survives in the sewage water, dirty water, this particular Culex mosquito, it wants paddy fields. Can you see people searching for lava and thing? It requires paddy fields. So whichever area where paddy fields are there, they are known to be endemic for this particular mosquito and the disease. And the other amplifier for this particular virus, J virus, is pig. Okay, so wherever pigsties, people who are having this, some districts are known to have a lot of pig, the chance of this disease also is increasing. Okay, so this is how. So this is how it happens. So how we can strategically work for this disease is make sure wherever paddy fields are, the regular surveys are done to look for larvae, then treat it chemically. Wherever pigsties are there, make sure the person should stay far away from this pigsty. Okay, pigsties. So pigsties, basically, when when this Culex mosquito will bite you is when they don't have this pig blood. If they can feed on the pig blood, okay, It is more on anemophilic kind of thing. It won't come to anthrophilic humans. So when you're going to disturb this, if you put bed nets for pigsties, okay, it will come in search of your blood and you will get JE. So simple strategy. Just make sure it is little away from your house. And other thing, as I already mentioned, we have JE vaccine. Previously, single dose was given. Now 2 doses subcutaneously we are giving live attenuated vaccines in only the endemic areas, not in all areas. Okay, whichever areas found to be this endemic district, we are giving vaccine for them, and we are able to control it. This disease is really bad because we are going to have encephalitis, and yeah, encephalitis basically the parenchyma is affected, and they may even children end up with seizures and other kind of problem. We can lose the children or adult also. So one of a dangerous disease, but can be easily prevented. Looking at control measure over the paddy fields, yes, spraying is important. So aerial on the top, ground fogging or aerial spraying can be done. The spraying should cover the vegetations and the houses which are near this particular affected places. Man, yeah, we can personally protect ourselves. The animals and the human contact can be prevented, but there is a double-edged sword where if you prevent that, you can be bitten by this. A lot of PCCs are required, and surveillance is going for JE also. Okay, so these are just certain picture which it's a little different from the other diseases. Okay, the last one towards the end. So we are going for the odd man. Okay, so there is a disease which is not transmitted by mosquito, whereas it's transmitted by sandfly. Sandfly, though the name has fly, it can't fly. Okay, it's a little funny. So sandfly is an insect which can only hop. It can't fly. Okay, it's a wingless insect. It can hop and go and bite the humans and transmit the disease. Why I'm telling repeatedly is because the strategy will be based on it. For all the insect, I mean mosquito which fly, we had a different strategy. For this, we are going to have a different strategy. But before going further, looking at epidemiology in India, okay, I have not seen a case of, sorry, myself in my place in Chennai, I have not seen a case of Kalaza, but in India, we do have this case. For example, in Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, certain UP districts, okay, typically only these areas we are finding this cases. Very rarely those migrants, if they come, we are seeing those I'm sorry, Kalaza cases. So remember this part for writing epidemiology. You can remember this picture towards only this eastern part, right? Of So it started its program in 1990s, but again got merged with NVBDCP in 2004, and it has its own elimination thing. Will still we have few cases reporting in those places also. Regularly it's been reported. Okay, we saw something about the vector. So what we are going to do for this vector, we are going to have indoor residual spray because these sandflies are known to live in the crevices, cracks and crevices within the house. That is the breeding place. No water is required for sandflies. It will be in the cracks and crevice. So if you go do a proper indoor residual spray with BDT and the cracks are being closed, then we can solve this. And also we are spraying it up to 6 feet because this is a hopper. It can hop to certain height. And if you're going to do it twice a year with this spray, we can solve this problem. Then we are having early diagnosis and complete treatment. So like how I said for falciparum malaria, we have HRP2 diagnostic kit. Even for this particular Kalaza, we have a RK39 diagnostic kit. So maybe an MCQ. What is the thing your diagnostic kit used for Kalaza? It's RK39. And there are also drugs which been used for treatment of patient, miltefosine. There are other drugs also there, SSG and other things and all. Okay, now I just saying from program aspect, that is EDPT, a prompt treatment. Apart from that, information, education, communication to them, capacity building, monitoring, operational research on this program. Information, education, communication. In other words, the recent term is BCC, behavior change communication. As I already mentioned, this particular hopper can hop only up to 1 meter. A simple thing what you have to tell those people who are in the villages and having this disease, right? Tell them not to sleep with bare body, bare chest, because most of them have a habit of sleeping outside the house with open chest. Okay, so in that case, they can be easily bitten. They have to sleep inside the house on the bed with certain height. That itself will reduce this problem of Kala ulcer. Nothing more required. So because we know the bionomics of this insect, it can't fly, it just hops, and it can hop only up to a certain height. We can just tell them have just go and sleep on the cot, not on the floor. Just wear a shirt or t-shirt, whatever you want. You can prevent this problem. So basically, most of the control strategy in public health, if you know the basic concepts and bionomics, we can solve so many things. Yeah, we had an exhaustive discussion about many disease, covering almost more than 45 minutes or 50 minutes. Yeah, I think it's time to ask questions. I don't know how many of you are here. I'm checking where to go for the question. I'll stop sharing my screen now so that others can help me with the questions.
Okay, boss, you are finished with your talk, Dr. Balaji?
Yeah,
Okay,
we
okay.
finished the program.
So it was very clear and very nice. We understood the topic very well, grasped the topic. If you have any doubts, please share it in the live chat section so that I can ask the faculty to clear it. Dr. Balaji will clear it for you. If you have any doubts, please type it in the chat section.
So, for those people who attended, don't think programs are always tough. It's just that if you like approach it in a practical manner, it's one of the easiest thing to approach in exams also.
And meanwhile, as they keep typing any doubts, um, please share this YouTube channel to all your friends. Let all of your friends benefit from the talks. It's you can share this ID www.tinyurl.com/Indian Medical College 2020. This is our YouTube channel, or just you can share your YouTube through the share our Facebook page, like our Facebook page www.fb.com/Indian Medical College 2020. Here you can access the recorded videos and the MCQs which we'll be posting, and the announcement of all the sessions will be available in the Facebook page. So please do share it to all your friends. And we have an interesting session still to come at 6:30. It's on diabetes mellitus by mm, our medicine expert on diabetes mellitus at 6:30 to 7:30. Stay tuned at 6:30, and please do share to your friends also about this wonderful topic. And tomorrow we have exciting sessions on physiology, on synapse functions and properties at 3 to 4 p.m. At 5 to 6 p.m. we have on coronavirus microbiology by Dr. Deepa Babin. And third session is by our famous Dr. A.K. Jain. He is the author of a famous book. He is talking on optics at 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. So keep sharing this good idea. You also keep coming, and let's see if any doubts are there. Balaji, I will just ask.
I could not find any.
Uh, Divya Bharati has asked, thank you, sir. Divya Bharati Pradhan.
Okay, I'm not able to see that in the chat session. Anyway, you can tell me. I'm trying to get that.
I'm just checking it for you, boss.
Okay.
And Sushmita Paul has asked why we can't use IRS in urban areas.
That's a good question. See, IRS basically any public health actions when we plan, we try to make sure people accept it. Okay. So even in mosquitoes, we have certain species which are in rural area and certain species which are in urban area. The one answer is we prefer more because the rural area species, they go and sit on the walls and stay for some time and they get killed. The other one is people's acceptance. In rural area, people are accepting this IRS very well. Whereas in urban area, in flats or other things, you just can't enter in also. And those places, if you're going to go for IRS, imagine what will be the response and how will be our program. So that is also a reason why we go for space sprays, ultra low volume, ULV, ultra low volume space sprays, and we prefer those things for the rural areas. Any other questions, sir?
I think that's it, boss. Um, Thank you, R. Balaji, for a wonderful session. You had your viewers glued to the session. It was very interesting. We will have more talks. We like to hear more from you.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thanks a lot. And people who are stood there for 1 hour, thanks a lot for the listening also. All the best. Stay safe at home. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Ilongo?